Hey friends, I am tired of black people being killed by the police in this country. And I hope that if you're watching this, you feel the same way. One of the things that I find so difficult about this circumstance and the system and pattern of events is how inexorable it feels. How it feels like just this machine that has so much momentum that it is impossible to stop. But it's a machine that's driven by humans, and so it is possible for it to stop, and it can stop through human action. So I want to share two pieces of action that I am participating in or partaking in, and that I hope you will too. And I hope they'll be helpful to you and to moving the project of developing a culture of care forward. The first is a piece of activism, and the second is a meditation to get in touch with parts of ourselves that we might normally try to look away from. So, on the activism front, if you haven't already, now is a good time to find out what is happening in terms of your police, in terms of police in your community, in your city or town. Where are there abuses of power? How are they held to account? How much of your tax money is being spent on settling or paying lawsuits for abuses of power that you wouldn't like to support if you knew about them and that you haven't been knowing about? Just find out, because the police in our communities are operating, in theory, on our behalves, and we need to be paying attention to what's happening. And paying attention at the local level is where you have the most power and the most opportunity. So tune in, find out what's happening, find out what's going on in your city hall or in your town hall. And you don't have to do anything else, although what you find out might point you in the direction of further action. You might get connected with an organization that is engaging in action to move police and policing in a more kind and caring direction. Or it might just help you to know what's happening without having to take a further action. So that's one thing. And the second thing is I would like to walk us through a mindfulness experience that can help us to get in touch with the part of ourself that is invested in the kind of policing that we currently are experiencing. So something that I've noticed in myself and other people is that it's very easy to point fingers at other people as being the problem, right? Like, oh, it's those bad white people over there. I'm a good white person, and so I don't really have to worry. Unfortunately, it is not so simple as if you aren't part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. We live in a complex world where we are both part of the solution and part of the problem. And we've got to be able to look at that with clear eyes and honesty and sort of acceptance of what's real in order to be able to engage with what's real and move the world in the direction that we want it to go. So I'm going to invite you in this moment to get in touch with a part of yourself that you might not normally spend a lot of time with. So I'm going to invite you in this process to take a comfortable seat, or you could lay down for this, and close your eyes if you're so inclined. I'm going to keep my eyes open because it feels a little bit weird to be on camera with my eyes closed. It feels a little weird to be on camera anyway. I always feel a little self-conscious, but I want to share this with you. So come into the moment and get into a comfortable and upright, supported position, and just tune into the sensation in your feet against the floor or the ground, wherever you are. Let your attention fill your feet. And now tune into the sensation in your butt on the chair, your seat in the seat. And let that sensation fill your awareness. that weight of gravity holding you down to the earth. Connection with the source of life and the place that life returns, and the source of all of our interconnectedness with each other and with nature. Tune into your breath. And now I want to ask you to think about a time or a place in your life when you were operating from a position of authority or power. This might be in a relationship where you're the adult and you're interacting with children, or it might be in a work setting like where you're someone's manager or boss or supervisor. It might be out in the world where you're a customer and interacting with someone whose job it is to serve you. And think about a time when you were in this position of power and the person who you expected to do what you wanted them to do or what you were asking them to do didn't do it. They didn't obey your command, as it were. And think into what was your experience of that moment. The example that I am drawing to mind is an interaction with a customer service agent who I wanted to refund a charge on my credit card. And the first person I spoke with wasn't able to help me. And the sensation that arose was a clench in my chest, followed by a flash of heat that rushed through my chest and head. And I experienced it as rage. I was outraged that this person wasn't going to refund my $25. My response was way disproportionate to the interaction I was having. So think about a time when you've had an experience like that, and what did it feel like in your body, that sense of outrage or whatever sensation and emotion came up for you. You can feel into that and know that sense of expecting to be obeyed because you have power is an experience that police in the United States have all the time. And it's something that you have in common with them, because any emotion that any human can experience, every human can experience. And we're all connected. So by getting in touch with that part of ourselves, that authoritarian part that expects and desires to be obeyed and feels like there's something wrong in the world when you're not obeyed, it's something that we all share and have in common. And that part of ourselves is part of what upholds policing as it currently exists in the United States. Just getting in touch with that part of yourself and letting it see the sunlight, not so it can grow, but so that you can look at it and have a relationship with it, is something that you can do today to start to dismantle authoritarianism as it operates in our culture. And after you've spent some time with that feeling and everything that it evokes, I invite you to spend some time with yourself in a journal or a blank page on your computer and just noodle on, what are you experiencing? What did it bring up? What does it feel connected to for you? Is this the person you want to be? How do you want to relate to this part of yourself? Spend some time getting to know it, because the way it lives in you is a way that it lives in other people also. And the way that it lives in all of us is part of how it lives in the systems that we partake in. If you haven't already, I invite you to open your eyes. I appreciate you spending this time with me, and I hope that what I've shared today has been helpful to you. I wish that this was a conversation that we didn't have to keep having, but I feel, and I suspect that you also feel, an urgent need for us to change the way that things are operating. And the best place I know to make a difference is in myself first. Thanks so much, my friends. I love you.